Today I want to share with you the Goshuin that I collected on my last trip to Japan. I've previously shared a video showing you the first Goshuin that I collected previously, and so this will act as an update video, and I'm really excited to show you all of the beautiful Goshuin that I collected. If you're not familiar, Goshuin are a red seal stamp like this, and often you can also get very special and unique Goshuin, and you can collect these from shrines and temples across Japan as a reminder of your pilgrimage and your visit to those places. I go into a bit more detail on my previous video if you want to check that out after this one, but let's just get straight into looking at all of the Goshuin I collected on this trip. And also, this is all of the sort of ephemera that came with collecting Goshuin this time, and so I'll go through it alongside showing you the Goshuin in my book. And I also talked in my last video about wanting to get a cover for my Goshuin-cho, which is what you call the book that you collect Goshuin in. And so I got this plastic cover. I think it was super cheap, maybe 400 yen. And it has sort of a very easy slip on one side, a little flap on the other side, and you can put the other cover under this strap to keep it secure. And this is the packaging that came with the cover. So if you're looking for one yourself when you're in Japan, I'd say look out for this. And I got this one in Loft in Ginza, but I think you can get them in any kind of Loft or hand store. And there are two different sizes as well. And so because mine is like a washi paper cover, it was getting a bit worn on the corners, and that is why I got it for this. So as with Japanese books, this is the front cover. So the front cover goes in like this. And then because I was, you have to flip the pages to hand over, I didn't put the back cover through this band, but you can if you want to. But I just left it sort of tucked in lightly here so that when I hand it over to be filled in, I can just sort of hold it like that. And no one was really bothered by the cover being there. Anyway, you've had a quick look at some of the previous Goshuin, just from me holding it then. But let's go through to the first one from this trip. So this was the last Goshuin that I collected in Tokyo on my previous trip, and this one here is the first. This one I got at the Ushi-Tenjin Kitano Jinja, which is a shrine, and with this they also gave me these little rice crackers. These two postcards, one of which has the name on the back, I think, and this shrine, I'll put in a little clip, is famous for the bulls. And so I just thought this was really lovely. And they also gave me this shrine tour map. So there was a man sort of helping out outside in the shrine, and then there were two shrine maidens who completed the Goshuin, and it's just beautiful. And this little map sort of had images of the Goshuin-cho that were available. There were also different stamps that were available, and they changed their stamp. And then on the back, and this is in English, so it's very helpful, and it just sort of had different shrines in that area that you could visit. So I thought that was really nice of them to give this out to people who were collecting Goshuin there. And one special thing about this stamp is that it is sort of got this lovely silver ink stamp there. The next stamp that I received is this one with the dog, and this is from the Koishikawa Daijingu Shrine, which unfortunately has now been closed. I think that they built a new shrine and it was enshrined and opened, and they had these wonderful, like this is the shrine dog, so I really made an effort to get there. But since I visited in December last year, they have had to close, I think due to building works, so I'm not sure if it's going to be rebuilt somewhere else, but I did manage to see the shrine dog when I was there very briefly. It was very cute, and it was a lovely little modern shrine. And this one came with this little piece of paper over it, which I believe, when I put it through Google Translate, says, "I hope you have a nice day." So a lot of the times you will get like a little sheet of paper. It may have something printed on it or not, but it's just to sort of protect the facing page from any ink bleed, which I'll update you. One of my stamps from last year, this one here, I removed the piece of paper, but just over time this ink has just bled onto the facing page, so I've had to put this piece of paper, and you can see the amount of ink that's transferred. So I keep this sheet in my book. However, everything else seems to be fine after it's dried, so that might just be a very unique instance. And then you can see this one here. So it was a special snake day. So I went to the Hoshuin Temple, and I'd been there on my previous trip and received this beautiful Goshuin. And I knew I wanted to return to get another Goshuin from this temple. This is the little sheet that they put between their Goshuin, and there's just some information if you would like to look them up. I really recommend visiting Hoshuin Temple, but I actually, because you can get more than one Goshuin, which is something I've learned as well, is you can, if they have special Goshuin, you can ask them for multiples. So I got the Snake Day Goshuin, and then I also got their special monthly Goshuin, which is here. So they have a different one every month. And for this year, they've had a more astrology theme, whereas the previous year, as I've just shown you, had this beautiful sort of Japanese lady in a scene theme. So this is December 2023, the Neo-Japanese theme. And then this one was the following December, and they've got like a lovely little 12 stamp there. So I'm going back again in December this year, and you bet I'm going to go and collect another Goshuin from Hoshuin Temple. But these are just beautiful. I will say, if you are going on a special sort of festival day, there were lots of people. This is the longest I've had to wait for a Goshuin to be written. It took about 40 minutes, and there were lots and lots of people getting multiple Goshuin done, which obviously I'm guilty of as well. But I also saw people that had Goshuin that were this big, and they had multiple of those, and then this bigger book. So I'm not going to get into mini Goshuin because that just seems like a bit too far. But yeah, if you're going on a special day, then just make sure you have enough time to wait for your Goshuin to be handwritten, because these are handwritten into the book. And I'll show you some examples as we go along of ones that have been pre-written, which I stick in later. Next, we have these two very colourful ones. This one here is one that I went out of my way to go to visit. It's the Komagome Myogi Shrine, and they have a beautiful shrine cat and lots of cat imagery, which you may have seen. I have some vlogs about my trip to Japan, and this was the day that I also did my Yamanote line challenge. I really wanted to go and collect this Goshuin, and they have this little sort of snow bunny for the winter. While I was there, I also purchased this little cat charm, which is really cute and comes with like a little wooden circle with a cat there, and so you're meant to carry this with you for luck. And then this one on the facing page, so this one was pre-written, and you can see it's on a separate piece of paper here. This is from the Karasumori Shrine, which is a very popular shrine. So that's why they only do the pre-written ones. There were two different ones I could get. I think one was for the new year, but I wanted to get one that was for that date and time. And this shrine is near Shimbashi Station, and it's also very popular with the locals in the area. And they also gave me a couple of little things in this little thing. So I think this is some tea, and this sort of little, I think it is an amulet. And you can see it has the 4 colours there. So sometimes they will give you little extra things, but I never expect it. It's just up to the shrine or the temple on whether they give you some extra little bits and pieces or little bits of information. And so this was me finishing my first side of my Goshuin-cho. So you can see I've collected all of these ones on this side. And so what I should have done is, because this is the front and then you turn it this way, is I should have gone here and then turned it this way. But when I went to my next shrine for a handwritten Goshuin, I opened it like I would a Westerner, and I opened it this way. So this was the next handwritten one. And I actually told him, oh no, don't put it on these pages, because I had just purchased this Goshuin at a different place. And I only realised as I kept collecting that I had gone the wrong way, but you know, that's just how it is. I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it, so let's continue looking at the Goshuin that I collected. So I moved to Kyoto from Tokyo, and this is from Honnō-ji Temple, and this was a pre-written Goshuin. I'll show you a picture because on the back you can see where the ink has been written, and this is like a printed image of a samurai. They had a couple of different options of which image you could ask for, and it was very easy to receive it. And so when I went to the next shrine in Gion, which is this one at Yasaka Shrine, I asked him not to write on these pages because I had this double page thing. So I had handed him the little sleeve that had this Goshuin in it, and he sort of took it out, looked at it, put it on the page and was like, yes, and just sort of nodded. And I was like, thank you. And he hand wrote this Goshuin on here for me. And this is the little sheet of paper that he put over the Goshuin, and it has a little history about the shrine on it, and I think this is like dates of events, possibly. I don't read Japanese very well. So they sort of use these little ink blot pages to give you more information about what's going on at the shrine, which is really, really nice. This next Goshuin is from the Himuro Shrine, which is in Nara, which is where I went to on a day trip from Kyoto. And this is the sheet of paper that they used to blot it. So there's like a nice picture of the Torii Gate. And this may just look like a very normal Goshuin. However, there's something very special that they do at this shrine, is that once they've finished writing the Goshuin, they will strike a flint over it, which is just a very unique experience. So if you are heading to Nara, I would really recommend stopping by Himuro Shrine. They also have blocks of ice where you can buy a fortune and you put the piece of paper on the ice and it will reveal the words. I didn't do it, but it is also a very unique thing that you can do at this shrine in Nara. Next, I went to Chudaiji Temple, of which I've kept the ticket here. And there's some information on the back about the temple. And so that's this Goshuin here, and there are multiple Goshuin that you can collect around Chudaiji, but this one I got in the Great Buddha Hall. So you sort of go into the Buddha Hall, you walk around it to the left, you go all the way around, and as you come out, there's the temple office and you can get your Goshuin there. This is also the little piece of paper that they put in from Chudaiji Temple. Again, if you want to pause and translate any of these things or read them if you can read Japanese, then please do feel free to do so. Near to Chudaiji, I then went to the Tamukeyama Hachimangu Shrine, which also came with a lovely little sheet like this. And I took a picture of sort of the information about the shrine, which I will insert as well. This was super quiet, there was barely anyone around, and Chudaiji can get really busy. There were a lot of school groups coming in when I went in at around 9:30 a.m. So I would really recommend looking at some of the other shrines in the area, because they're equally as beautiful and special and can be a lot quieter. So from here I then walked to the Kasugataisha Shrine, which is this Goshuin here, and I really love the brush strokes here in the writing. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And this shrine is famous for having lots of lanterns around the area, and you do pay to go into this shrine. This is the lovely ticket that you receive, and this is a room you can go into where they've darkened it and you can see what the effect of the lanterns would be. And just for your information, this is the little handout that you get. It is in English and in Japanese, and it shows you sort of the route that you take to go and view all of the lovely lanterns. And here is a map of it in context of all of the buildings around it, and they have lots of information about the shrine and everything related to it on this thing if you want to pause and read it. And it's probably already caught your eye on the facing page. This skull Goshuin is from Hosō-ji Temple in Kyoto, so after I was in Nara I headed back to Kyoto to get this one. The opening hours of this shrine are fairly restricted in terms of planning my days, so I think it was open till 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and closed on Mondays, so the only day I could go and get it was the Tuesday that I was there. And so they have these pre-written skull Goshuin, and this is an artwork that the shrine owns, and they have various information about that artwork and the relationship between that artist and it's a temple. And here's a little leaflet that they gave as well, which shows the artworks that they have, and it's all in Japanese, so I'd need to translate this to read it, but it's sort of really tucked away. There's a little map of where it is, and you sort of blink and you miss it. You can walk past it and not really notice it there, which is lovely. I did notice that they did have some torii gates in there, so Shrine Temple, I'm not really sure what's going on in there, but it was really lovely and peaceful to visit. And not only did I get this skull Goshuin, I also bought one in black for a friend because they come in multiple colours. And this is where I got this beautiful handwritten Goshuin, which I showed at the beginning of the video. So it has these lovely individually stamped leaves and flowers, this one of a Buddhist monk, I think, and then a little message which might be a mantra. Again, it's just, I really love the differences in like the handwriting between all of the different Goshuin, and this is literally a work of art. So I would really recommend going out of your way to visit Honnō-ji Temple. The next day I did a big loop around Kyoto to collect some more Goshuin and visit some temples and shrines during the autumn season. So I first went to Nanzen-ji Temple, but I'll just put this to the side because this one was a pre-written Goshuin, so it actually is in my book a little bit later. So this one on this side is a handwritten Goshuin from Eikando Temple, and this is the little leaflet that they give out during the autumn season, and it comes with this lovely ticket. So you pay to go into this one because it's sort of a big hotspot for taking pictures, and there's a lot of things you can't do in the gardens during this time, which they have on the ticket. And I'll just show you the visitor's guide here, and this one is all in English, which is really useful. And this was a beautiful garden and temple to walk around. And I will link down below, I have a whole vlog on my day visiting all of these shrines and temples, and I think it's a really nice itinerary if you'd like to follow it. But yeah, I really love this writing as well. I love all of it. But for this one, because it was quite a busy season, you take your shoes off and you go into the building, and they had a little desk on the left-hand side where you would leave your book. You would then go all the way around, you know, the complex, looking at all of the lovely leaves, and then you would return to the entrance and pick up your Goshuin. They gave you a little numbered tag, so by the time you get all the way around, they will have had time to write it because it was very, very busy that day, very popular. So it's to save you waiting at the end of your visit. They sort of preempt it and ask you to leave it in advance, which I think is really smart. This one here is from the Okazaki Shrine, which I walked to, and this is the little cover page that came on it, and there's lots of bunnies, as you can see. So this shrine is known for fertility, and so there's lots of little bunny rabbits all around the shrine, and lovely statues and sculptures of bunnies. So if you're interested in going to a fairly unique shrine, I would recommend that you visit this one. Next I walked down to the Heian Shrine, which is this quite very sparse Goshuin here, and it sort of, yeah, compared to this one, it looks very simple. This is the little sheet of paper that it came with, and they also had a handout which I picked up, so it's quite a large area. I didn't have time to go into the gardens, because I'd just been to two beautiful gardens. I didn't really think that I needed another one, but you may want to prioritize it. And it has 4 different seasons there, and it's got a huge space in front of it. And I believe this is a rebuilt sort of recreation of this shrine, which was to commemorate how many years of the city? Yeah, so in 1895 it happened to be the 1100th year since the Heian capital came into existence, so this shrine was built and restored. So that was a really nice one to visit and collect. And then on this facing page, this is where I put the pre-written Goshuin from Nanzen-ji Temple, and this one I visited because it has an incredible viaduct next to it, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous place to visit. They have lots of artwork in the rooms that you can walk around the garden, and there's sort of a picture of it in the autumn time, that viaduct. And that's the map of the area, and this is the little ticket from as well, so you had to pay to go into this one. And just where you enter and take off your shoes was where the counter was, where you could purchase the pre-written Goshuin here. So after my time in Kyoto, I went down into Okayama Prefecture and I went to Kurashiki. And so I visited the shrine in Kurashiki, which is called the Achi Shrine. And that is the handwritten Goshuin there. This is a little piece of paper they included, and they do have, so some of them do have social media, which I find it very interesting to look at them in advance and see if they post about which Goshuin they have, because sometimes they're seasonal. And they also had this handout in English, which talks about the shrine. And this is a really nicely printed one, and they also have a little bit about the Goshuin stamp etiquette, which is nice, and a bit about festivals, how to pray. So they are just trying to encourage you to enjoy visiting and follow the practice as best you can. On the following day, I did a sort of half-day trip to Himeji just to see the castle and the garden next to it. So I received this Goshuin handwritten, which has a lot of characters on it, at the Himeji Gokoku Shrine, and this one is right next to, or right in front of, the castle. So I thought it was a really nice way to mark the visit. And I'll also show you some pictures. They had some special edition Goshuin, but because of the layout here, they had like a double page Goshuin, which looked beautiful, but I didn't want it to go over the fold here, so I just decided to go for the handwritten one, and it would just make the layout of my book, you know, stay nice. And then this was also a little handout they have. I think this has information about sort of events that are happening from what I can remember when I translated it in the past. But there is some information if you would like to pause and read it. And they also do have a website. So a lot of the time I will just go on their website and put it through Google Translate and just hope for the best. And then finally I went back to Tokyo, and I had met up with my sister, so we didn't go to too many shrines. But I wanted to go back to Meiji Jingu because I'd visited before, and I thought it was like a nice first time shrine for my sister to see because it was her first time in Tokyo or in Japan at all. And I may have talked about it in my previous video, but the process for receiving a Goshuin at Meiji Jingu, because it is so busy, there is a line to receive it pre-written, which is a very short line, if any. And then there's a roped off line where you can wait to have it handwritten. They might have 3, 4, 5 people sitting at desks waiting to write these for you. So it moves fairly quickly, but it can become quite a long line. And I just think it's absolutely worth waiting for, because you hand over your book and you see them writing it right in front of you, whereas some places they sort of take it off into a back room to write it. And I just feel like that whole experience is just so special and really worth investing your time in. And I also wanted to show you the comparison with my previous year where I received a Goshuin at Meiji Jingu. So this is the stamp I received the year before, and you can see it's got quite thick blocky brush strokes and it's quite a full page. And then the second year it looks like that. So it really depends on who you get, but as I said before, I think they're all beautiful. So there you go. And I do still have some pages left in this book. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. So I will take this back on my next trip and finish it. I'd hoped to finish it on my second trip, but I mean, I already went to so many, as you can see, and had multiples at some places. So I will also be needing to find another Goshuin show, and whether I buy one like this from a stationery store or if I buy one at a shrine or temple, I'm yet to decide. Well, maybe we'll have to wait and see what is on offer, and I'll decide when I'm there. I did also want to show you a book I picked up in Kyoto, which I found at the Kyocera Museum of Art, and I had already planned all of the shrines and temples that I was going to visit in Kyoto, but I could not resist picking up this book. I think it was, 1,200 yen plus tax, and if you want to find it, there's the ISBN. But it's basically a book that just shows you all of these beautiful Goshuin that you can collect, and I really love the character that they have in the book. There's like, I don't know what this is, it's like a ghost bird, and then there's the Inari, the fox, with his little red scarf, and I think a map trying to find the Goshuin. And so it's this beautiful book, and it's just like the best Goshuin to collect in Kyoto. So if you can find one of these books before your trip or earlier on in your trip, it may help you quite a lot in planning where you're going. And I do just want to show you as well the cover of the book. So it has this beautiful design with a tiger, which I think is from one of the Goshuin that is featured in the book. And it's just really cute with these characters. They're sort of running around Kyoto. And I think it's great for someone who's already interested in Goshuin, or maybe you're just starting out, because it does have some sort of introductory pages. So it tells you how to read a temple Goshuin, it tells you how to read a shrine Goshuin, and sort of describes, I think, what a Goshuin show is and all of the different sort of amulets and things you can buy. Obviously you need to sit with your phone and translate it if you don't read Japanese. And then it gives you the best 30 Goshuin that they recommend that you collect, and it has a wonderful selection of Goshuin that it recommends, and it sort of tells you a bit about them. They might be seasonal, and then they also have information about when it is open and where the address is. And I think there is, here we have Honnō-ji Temple. So I was like, oh, I've already been there and managed to collect it. And I just was having a look through Translate. I think this says like every time they release a new colour, I must collect it. So it's really a lovely book. And then after the best 30, it gives you a monthly view. So it goes from January and sort of tells you about the new year Goshuin. And there's lots of seasonal Goshuin, so it's just good to have a look through and check what might be around when you are visiting. And then they have a chapter on tours, so they have routes already laid out that you can follow. And this one includes Kiyomizu-dera, which is a popular temple to visit, which I visited when I was younger, so I didn't go back this time. But if you want to just follow one of their routes, this is a great little guidebook. And at the end it has some themes, so if you want to go via theme. And I just think that it's lovely to look through even if I can't read it. And there's some lovely artwork which they recommend that you visit. Different Goshuin show. And yeah, so getting this book, I've sort of gone down a rabbit hole looking into other books which I could possibly buy about Tokyo Goshuin and other sort of things. So when I'm back, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for more of these Goshuin catalogue books, because I think it's just a lovely souvenir itself, you know, that you can keep with your Goshuin. They're about the same size actually, so you can keep them together on your bookshelf and remember your lovely visit to Japan. So around my last video on Goshuin, there were a couple of questions which I just wanted to sort of give some tips about in this section. Some people are worried about approaching the shrine office or the temple office and whether they will understand you if you don't speak Japanese. I think having the Goshuin show and having it open to the page that you want them to write on is a very clear indication that you would like a Goshuin. Often they will have pictures of the limited edition Goshuin with a number, so you could maybe learn basic numbers in Japanese or just hold up a finger. They sort of, you know, they work on a lot of body language and gestures. So I would say don't be shy, just go up and, you know, do your best. And a lot of the time they will also have those pictures of the special Goshuin laid flat, so you can just point at what you would like. Obviously be very polite. You can say Goshuin onegaishimasu, and make sure you thank them when you receive the book. I think it's important as well when you receive your book back and when you hand it to them that you use both hands. So if I'm handing it over the counter, I will hand it to them like this, and when they hand it back, they will use both hands to hold it out to you, and you should take it with both hands when you receive it. It's just a respectful thing to do. So I think that's about it for this video. If you do have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I'm happy to talk about Goshuin at any time. And make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow more of my adventures. I will be filming more when I'm back in Japan this December, as well as sharing more of my videos about stationery and some walks in London and other travels that I have. So I really look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!